Now we have to calculate beta. Now beta is equal to covariance of M, A, that means covariance of market portfolio and return of security A divided by sigma square M. Here covariance of market portfolio and return of security A was 48.25% and sigma square M is 40.14%. So here beta comes to 1.2. Now we have to calculate the security characteristics line. The first question was we have to find out characteristics line for stock A. Now the characteristics line of stock A is to be written as y equal to alpha plus beta into x. This is nothing but the equation of the straight line. Here y is the average return that is arises from the stock A, which is 6.33%. Beta is 1.2, which is calculated here, and x is average return of the market portfolio, which is 5.75%. If we put this value in this equation, then we have 6.33 equal to alpha plus 1.2 x. Now from here x is the average return of the market portfolio, it is 5.75%. Now here if we put the value of the x, then we can easily calculate the value of alpha, which comes to minus 0.57. So if we put the value of the alpha again in the formula, again the equation of the security characteristics line, then we have the security characteristics line equation for stock A, which comes to y equal to minus 0.57 plus 1.2 into x. That means from this equation, if we know, if we can apply this formula where we have the return on the market portfolio, and here if we apply the average return of the market portfolio, that means x here, we can easily calculate the average return that is to be detected from the stock of security A. So security characteristics line, from the security characteristics line we can calculate the average or expected return of the stock A if we have the average return in respect of the market portfolio. I repeat again, the security characteristics line of stock A comes to y equal to minus 0.57 equal to 1.2x. From this characteristics line we can easily calculate the average return of stock A if we have the average or expected return of the market portfolio. If we know the expected return, if we have the expected rate of return or average rate of return of the market portfolio, that means we can apply x here, we can easily calculate the value of y. That means we can easily calculate the value of, that means the average or expected return that will be generated from stock A. So this is the characteristics line of stock A. Now we have to analyze the total risk of security A, classifying it in two parts, systematic risk and unsystematic risk. Here the total risk that is generated from the stock A in terms of the SD comes to 9.10%, and in terms of the variance it comes to 82.89%. This was the individual risk of the stock A. In terms of variance it was 82.89%, in terms of SD it was 9.10%. So this was the total risk in respect of security A. In SD approach it is 9.10%, in variance approach it is 82.89%. Now these total risks are to be segregated in two parts, systematic risk and unsystematic risk. Now what is the systematic risk? Now see how we calculate the systematic. We know that the systematic risk are generated from the market. It is non-diversifiable. That risk which is associated with the interest rate, inflation rate, etc. is called systematic risk. It is not depends upon the firm or industry. All the firm or industry have to face this risk because these risks are generated from the market, and that's why it is called systematic risk. Now how we calculate the systematic risk? The calculation formula for the calculation of systematic risk is total risk into R that means correlation coefficient between market portfolio and that particular security. Here we know the value of RMA, that means here we calculate earlier the correlation coefficient of market portfolio and return of stock A. That result is known to us, and total risk is also given. So here we can calculate the systematic risk by applying formula total risk into RMA. Here total risk is 9.1 and correlation coefficient between the market portfolio and return of stock A is 0.8363. So the systematic risk comes to 7.6103%. This is the systematic risk that is arises from the security A. Now, if we subtract the systematic risk from the total risk, then we have the unsystematic risk, which is the fund specific, which is diversifiable, and it comes to 9.1 minus 7.61, that means 1.49%. In the variance approach, here we have the total risk of 82.89% in respect of the return of security A. Now, in this total risk, systematic risk is total risk into R into MA. Here, since the total risk are in square term, variance is nothing but SD square, so it is given in the square term. So here correlation coefficient are to be converted into square term. So for consistency, both are to be taken in the square term. It is given in the square term. Correlation coefficient are to be converted in square term. Here correlation coefficient between return of the market portfolio and return on the stock A comes to 0.8663, and here we have to square up this, and then we get the result of the systematic risk in terms of the variance, which comes to 57.9731%. Now, if we subtract the systematic risk from the total risk, then we can have the unsystematic risk in terms of variance, which comes to 24.9169%.